Hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. On this wonderful Tuesday, February the 18th, of year of the Lord 2025. Sonny Puzikas here with Let Us Attend number 7. As always, I will ask those of you who are here if you can let me know in comments if audio and video are acceptable. And I'll start saying hello, Chuck, Mr. DeWalt, Sam Russell, Homestead Medical, Chuck Peoples, how you doing? Give me yay or nay on audio and video, please. All right, looks like it's loud and clear. William Castell, how you doing, Turtle? I was just playing a little bit with the tool that I have gotten from you. Jake Wise, how you doing? Kenneth Bohr, Mike, Lance, very well. All right, well, I guess we will move on. I don't want to go into much of overtime today. I have a long trip coming. Tomorrow, our family is traveling. My wife and my daughter will be going to see Megan's family up in Salt Lake City, and me and Nick, after we drop off our girls at the airport in Dallas, we'll start heading towards Ohio. I think tomorrow late at night we'll make it to Tennessee. Obviously, weather promises to be pretty adventurous for our trip, but God willing, we'll make it all right. And we're going to Ohio because this coming weekend we have, what do we have this coming weekend? I believe here's what we have this coming weekend. Phil Lewis, how are you doing, sir? Yeah, so we have Slaysology and Stability class, February 22nd, 23rd in Somerset, Ohio. For those of you who are registered, I will be sending out the directions to the location. It is outside of Columbus in central Ohio. Again, those who are registered, I'll be sending out the location. So we still have 3 spots available. So if any of you want to play with some blades this coming weekend, join us in Somerset, Ohio. It's going to be pretty chilly, but Bob there has indoor space, and everything is going to be just fine. We're going to be cutting and slicing and stabbing in a comfortable atmosphere, as comfortable as cutting and stabbing can be. Adam, how are you doing, sir? All right, so let me just get a couple of things out of the way before we move on with our regular stuff. Uh, First, don't be a shitty student. Very deep in editing process. Editing process is taking a lot longer and it's a lot more intense than we anticipated, but it's moving along quite nicely. We did quite a bit of it the other day with Megan, and so yeah, it's very very close, and it will be shipping very soon. Doug Arnold, how are you doing, sir? So that's one. Don Stinson, how are you doing, sir? Uh, Again, I received some more questions about the Fear Inoculum coming up here in March. Fear Inoculum 2025 is sold out. I cannot take any more people into it. Fear Inoculum for 2026 is posted on my website. Again, as you can see on the slider at the bottom, it's going to be March 4th through 8th of 2026. And it is open for registrations, and some spots already have been taken. So I know it's still over a year away, but don't be one of those dudes that the time comes and you go like, oh, it's sold out, because it will be. Fear inoculum for the past 2 years sold out and oversold. This year is significantly oversold because I have a lot of my lifetime students attending. So they are in the addition to regular people, to regular students that registered for it. We will have quite a few very well qualified and I would say pretty high level students attending Fear inoculum and other classes during the March Madness here. And speaking of March Madness, let me get to it here. There you go. Again, you will see it on the slider at the bottom. March Madness coming up. March 1st, 2nd, Fight Hacker Escapology. Everyone should take that class because it is the basics, the most fundamental stuff for movement. Followed by March 5th through 9th, Fear inoculum 2025. As I already mentioned, it is sold out. March 12, 14, by invitation only, Bratva Gathering 5. And then March 15, 16, Shooter Fighter Matrix, Deep Fundamentals of Shooting Dimension within that matrix. That class will be taught by myself, Andrew from Combat's Art Training, and Lewis from LCAR Concepts. I would very highly recommend that class. I highly recommend all of them, but I'm really looking towards to that class because it's going to be interesting collaboration between myself, Lewis, and Andrew. And for those who are going to be attending, it's probably going to be kind of interesting to watch the exchanges that we will have because we will be probably to a certain degree challenging or at least questioning certain teaching points that each of the instructors will present. So it's going to be a very interesting class, very interesting environment to participate in that class. Last week we lost, and many of you know, a dear friend, Cadium, has passed away. Cadium, I've known Cadium for years. Every time we traveled to Camden, Tennessee to teach classes, me and my family stayed at Cadium's house. He was exceptionally gracious host. As I said, dear friend. We spent countless hours, in his kitchen, in his living room, on his back porch, resolving all the world's problems, current and the ones yet to come. Cadium was a man of faith, deep faith, and just all in all, outstanding dude. We are diminished with his passing, and it's going to be very strange tomorrow night when I arrive in Camden to stay at his house and Cadium not being there. So those of you who are praying kind people, please say a prayer for Cadium. May he rest easy, and may good Lord embrace him with his love. Now, let us move on. And the thing that we're going to move on to is this week's Sonny's Reading Room. This is an interesting one. Canada is an interesting country, although lately I know with all the little, them booing during the hockey games or before the hockey games, the America's national anthem, and then getting their ass kicked on the ice. Not that I care about it much, but why I'm saying that Canada is an interesting country, it has produced, as in comparison to U.S., as liberal as Canada is, it has produced some great thinkers in this century. And obviously, what most of you, the person who most of you are aware of, obviously, is Dr. Jordan Peterson. Yes, Adam, I will be in Camden tomorrow. We will be arriving very late at night. And no, Adam, there's nothing going on. We're just going to be stopping by on our way to Ohio because me and Nick going to Ohio. I'm teaching the class there over the weekend. So Camden is about as far as I can make, with the weather and all that and timing. So we're going to be staying in Camden overnight, and then Thursday morning we'll continue our journey to Central Ohio, to Somerset, Ohio, for the seminar there. So that's that. Jose Rivera, how you doing, sir? Richard. All right, so let's get to the book. And this book is written by another Canadian thinker. I wouldn't call him a philosopher. Uh, he is less known unless you used to listen to his actually quite popular podcast and radio show. The guy's name is Stefan Molyneux. And me and Megan used to listen to Stefan quite often. Stefan is very, very interesting individual, certainly a intellectual, certainly a deep thinking intellectual. And it was interesting listening to him over the years and watching kind of the evolution of his views, of his opinions about certain things. The book that I read is called Universally Preferable Behavior. And some of you probably looking on the slider and going, behavior with OUR? Yes, don't forget, he's a French Canadian, so, their spelling, pronunciation of some things is a little bit different, eh? Uh, anyway, this is the book by Stefan Molyneux, Universal Preferable Behavior, Rational Proof of Secular Ethics. And it's really interesting book because I don't even know what year it was written. I guess I can take a look at it and figure out here when it was printed or whatnot. Okay, so this book was written in 2007. Now, me and Megan were listening, obviously, in 2007, we didn't even know each other. Uh, but we listened to his show for a few years after me and Megan started dating. And yeah, for now, yeah, Bart, indeed, they did bury him. But nevertheless, why I found this book so interesting is that this book is written before Stefan kind of came out. In the way, it's kind of similar the way Dr. Jordan Peterson came out. Both of them being, in their early years, relatively, certainly by American standards, left-leaning individuals, and then gradually that kind of changing, but more importantly than the political views or societal views, what started changing is both with Stefan and Dr. Jordan Peterson is their views on faith, religion, and influence, specifically Christianity, had on the evolution of humankind, human race, and our societies. So, with this book, as I said, this was written in 2007, and Stefan was, how would I say, kind of like you, Reverend Bart, number of years ago. I would say pretty far away from faith and religion, certainly not endorsing. And even in the book here, the way it is written, he talks about how, from the secular perspective, men and women can establish, the code of ethics without being driven in the way he writes in the book, scared by gods and punishment and on and on and on. So it is very interesting because it is very logical. I would say it's kind of Ayn Randish in the way the book is structured and the way he speaks about ethics and what he refers to as universally preferable behaviors for humankind, for human race. As I said, to me, it was even more so interesting since I started listening to Stefan's radio and podcast stuff. Megan, you're probably right. I think back in those days he might have openly claimed to be an atheist. But when we started listening to him, it was interesting because within a year and a half or so, he was kind of like, it was cool to listen because he was kind of like questioning his own fairly recent beliefs and assumptions and presumptions that he spoke about publicly uh, in reference to Christianity and its influence, and not just influence, but really, how Christianity, not just with Ten Commandments, not just with the mapping out of you know ethics for humans, how to live, how to function. Uh, that Stefan started sounding like he was about to start being a Bible thumper. Just like Dr. Jordan Peterson, some people would say that he has become somewhat of a Bible thumper, right? So I would definitely be interested to, certainly at some point, to meet Stefan. Stefan used to, back in 2016 or so, 15, 16, he used to kind of rub shoulders and elbows in groups of people that Megan, my dear wife, used to hang out around and was kind of within part of that movement, so-called liberty movement, anarcho-capitalists. But then there was a fallout because Stefan was disagreeing with some of those anarcho-capitalists, or that's what they call themselves, about completely open borders and things like that and things like that. And then Stefan was being called statist by some of those anarcho-capitalists. And then me and Megan went to Anarchapulco, I believe, a year after the big fallout between Stefan and some of those organizers of the events. And listening how they talked about him, we kind of went like, goodness gracious. So, yeah. I definitely, when I have time from all my other endeavors, I'm going to see and try to find out if Stefan is doing anything these days, what he's involved with or what not. I think it would be kind of cool to have Stefan on this podcast. I know I'm aiming high, but why the fuck not, right? Don Stinson, indeed. I am the way, the truth, and life. Yes, the Alpha and the Omega. So, anyway, one more time before I move on to the next: Universally Preferable Behavior by Stefan Molyneux. Uh, it's a deep book, it's a good book. Uh, Often itself, it's a good read. To me, it was double so because, as I said, his book was written before his evolution took him kind of in the direction that's many of you here listening to my chats and myself included. Uh, we kind of grew up finally to recognize that which is the way, the truth, which is everything. So that is Sonny's reading room for this week. Stefan Molyneux with Universally Preferable Behavior. Look it up, get it. It's a good read, not entertainment. It's educational. It will make you think, and it is very well written, very well structured, very logical, very objective. Yeah, Jose, I know there's going to be snow as we're driving tomorrow, so we will be. I put on the good tires on my truck, so we will be fine. or we will try to be fine, God willing. All right, let's move on, shall we? There you go. Tip of the week on conditioning. Some of you who've been to my classes, well, that's okay if you're late, sir. It's no big deal. You're here, so that's good. Some of you who've been to my classes, you heard me on more than one occasion joke and kind of berate you, I suppose, would be the word, about, men often say, like, I'm going to kick his freaking ass. I'm going to do this and that. And very often I ask people, I said, oh, so you're going to kick someone's ass, huh? Why don't you show me? And not like I'm challenging them to a fight. I'm wiser than to do that these days. I'm too old. I probably would get my ass kicked. I'm old, scrawny, skinny, little, fake, all of that. But anyway, so what I ask people to do, I go like, why don't you do this? Why don't you lift your leg up to a grown man's ass level and hold it there for 15, 20 seconds? You know what's shocking? 98% of people who come to training cannot do that. They cannot maintain their leg lifted at 90-degree angle, not high, not at someone's throat level, 90-degree angle where someone's ass would be if you were to kick that ass. They are unable to hold it. Even when they're holding it significantly lower than 90-degree angle, their whole structure is completely screwed up. They're leaning back. And I'm going like, dude, you are not able to kick any ass. Maybe touch it, but certainly not kick it. All right? So, conditioning tip of the week. Russ, how are you doing, sir? Conditioning tip of the week, I'm going to have to show you. So, yes, I'm going to stand up here, and if I need to adjust my camera and all that, I'll do so. Here's what I want you to do, folks. Okay? What I'm talking about when I say lift up your leg at 90 degrees, right? Present your leg at 90-degree angle and just hold it, right? With a good posture, as you can see, I'm not leaning back or whatnot. 90 degrees. That's would be a little bit above ass. That's kind of like about, I don't know, a little bit under the solar plexus, right? Just lift that leg up and hold it there. Now, I know many will struggle. How do I know? As I said in classes, I asked folks to do that quite often, and most fail miserably. I'm not making fun of it. This is just an indicator that there are significant holes in people's conditioning. Not like I'm saying anything new and revolutionary and something that you never heard before. Max, how are you doing, sir? But, you know, if we talk about kicking ass, we should have capabilities that match the checks that our mouth writes, but our ass cannot cash, right? So now, if you're struggling with holding that leg up there at 90-degree angle, how do we start, right? Here's the interesting thing. Yes, you can do it when you stand up. You can stand up, raise your knee to a little bit above 90-degree angle, and just do extensions, right? Just do extensions as if you are kicking. As much as possible, try not to lean with your body back when you do that. Keep your body pretty much straight and just extend and kick. At first, if it's hard, by all means, hold on to something, support yourself so you can perform it. I would strongly suggest you do it at least 3 times a week. I would strongly suggest you do it 15, 20 times with each leg on every of those 3 days per week that you should do this. Right? At some point, when you get stronger, when your structure kind of catches up and you're able to keep good structure while kicking ass, okay, by all means, you can go higher. Right? Some people will say, well, I work long hours. I cannot do this, just stand up and pretend that I'm kicking there at work. People will go like, what the F? And all that. You know what? Cool. I totally understand your struggle. Sitting in the chair. As you're sitting, extend your leg. My leg is slightly lifted, so it's not on the chair. Okay? Slightly lifted. And just do this slowly. Again, 15, 20 reps each leg. Make sure that you do it to full extension. You will get the benefit out of it. Trust me. You will also feel it in your quads. You will also feel it in other parts of your legs. And it'll be good for you. It will strengthen your knees. It will strengthen your joints, your connective tissue around the knees. You can certainly rotate your ankles. That way you're doing more of a angular kick, not necessarily straightforward kick. And gradually you will develop the attributes needed that will justify you being able to say that you're going to kick someone's ass, because you will develop capability to actually kick someone in the ass so that their ass knows that it has been kicked as opposed to being touched. So this is my conditioning tip of the week about kicking ass. Get involved with it. Yeah, I know. You have to do push-ups, you have to do planks, you have to do other things. Mitre 999. Systema focuses a lot on healing and strength into getting. Yes. I wouldn't say it focuses, it is part of it. It's hard to fight, it's hard to do anything well, to function well, if your body is falling apart. Now, I get it. Some people will say, well, I have this degenerative disease, this issue, that issue. I have become of pretty strong belief that 99.9% of our ailments, diseases, not feeling well, something not functioning well, it's not just something that materializes out of somewhere, out of nowhere. This is a consequence of the way we have lived. And it may have accumulated over years or even decades. It's what you eat and what you put in your body, what you put on your body, how much time you spend sitting on your ass versus being mobile and active, how much time you spend in the air, and preferably not in downtown New York, in Manhattan, breathing all that shit, but like good stuff in the mountains, out in the country, whatever the case might be. Right? What is your mental health? All of those things over years, they accumulate. And whether it's good or bad, once you start reaching a little bit more of an advanced age, all that stuff starts writing the checks back to you for the investment that you put into your own well-being over the years prior. So when I'm giving these tips, and I will be continuing doing this almost every week, as far as health conditioning tips and on, right? You can think that this is just, Sonny's regular stuff, He's yapping about this, yapping about that. A lot of stuff, most of the stuff I'm going to be talking about is from personal experience. I made a lot of mistakes. I allowed a lot of things to go. I can say, well, some people that know my history, they go like, well, there's nothing you can do about injuries you sustained throughout your life and all that stuff. Now, I couldn't do nothing about injuries, but how I went about it, maintaining myself after, it affected how much I had to deal with, hardships and all that stuff as a result of those injuries. And by no means I suffered as much as many, many, many other people that I know. I did stay in a relatively good physical conditioning throughout my life, thanks to God, and a little bit of work. So I was able to really avoid, like severe issues with becoming non-functional. And I would suggest, guys, if you are facing something, if you're dealing with something, you can look at all this shit that I'm talking about and take it lightly and go like, yeah, whatever. Get on it. Get on it, because the time is ticking. And with each week, even day, this is going to become harder and harder and harder. Not only because you're getting older, so physically you're further deteriorating without doing these things, okay? But your mind is becoming even less disciplined because you're giving yourself excuses not to do that. And that softens this fucking box right here. And then it's very, very hard to make that decision, and then even harder to stick with that decision after you made it and continue grinding. Okay, so take it for how you will. I can say I don't care, but I do care. Uh, but if you want improvement of quality of your life, you're gonna have to put in the work to improve your future, and that work gonna have to come now before you see the results. So that is my conditioning tip of the week. Someone, what is that Colorado Bill SB 25003? Uh, I read something about being done in Colorado. Is that the thing with ammunition? Is that the bill that you're talking about? That I guess people cannot buy ammunition if they are under 21 or something like that, and then some other provisions in there. Well, you know, I guess people will have to look at it. People that do have a say. Semi-automatic ban? Are you kidding me? That will get challenged right away in the Supreme Court. That's not going to take long, because that is going to be directly related to Second Amendment and many, many other things. So I don't see how that will stand. As far as ammunition, that will be harder, because states can state that this is our state. This is what our voters want, because look who they elected. And folks of Colorado, not all of you, but some of you, obviously, unfortunately, majority of you elected people that are, yeah. Anyway, let's move on, shall we? Health tip of the week. Why do I have this? Oh, because it didn't update. Goodness gracious, that's from the last week. Let me see. Here, let me change that. Because it sucks if the ticker tells you one thing, but let me see. There you go. There is the topic for the health tip. Time to smuggle into Colorado. Yeah, Josh, maybe we'll start, a new business venture, right? Very quickly, I'm not going to go on a long rant on this, because I have some other longer rants coming up on different topics. Energy drinks. How do I say it softly? Fucking stop. Get away from that shit. I know, guys, there's a lot of things that we get used to because it tastes good. You say it feels good. You say you feel good after doing this or that. Energy drinks is one of the worst things you can do for your health. All of them. I don't care what they say. I don't care what language they use to replace and hide the amount of actual sugars that are in those drinks and many other things that are in those drinks, what it does to your cardiovascular system, what it does to many other systems of your physiology. And, some people will say, well, yeah, some people probably had some other pre existing conditions before their heart just farted out and they died. Uh, mm, how would I say it, guys? I'll just must have my kill cliff. Adam, I know Gary is into all those drinks. Many of my students are into those drinks. I don't care about breaking people's heart. I don't care about people disagreeing with me. I'm telling you, and most of you probably will not because you have what you will say addicted to it, or you like it, or you enjoy it, or you need it, or it really helps you, or whatever the fuck you're going to say. You are wrong. Get off of those things. There are things that can give you similar effects as far as energy boost or whatnot. Workouts, generally speaking, do that. Eating healthier, generally speaking, does that. Getting rid of a number of other bad habits can do that. Limiting alcohol intake can help you with energy. Uh, I don't know, having discipline in your life, having some kind of a schedule as far as your rest hours, your work hours, and all that can do that. We can always say, that, well, there are things outside of my control. Bullshit. Bullshit. If there is a need, you will find a way. But seriously, I'm not on purpose. I didn't do any links. I didn't do any other things as far as what is in all of those energy drinks. If you have bowls, especially if you are addicted to them and you use them excessively, and what I mean excessively, if you have one a week when you're driving somewhere and it's a long commute or whatnot, all right, cool. I'll I'll go with that. I'll still bust your balls, but I'll go with that. But if you're drinking two or three of them every single day, okay, have balls to read up about what they do to you, because it would suck. It would suck for me to receive a call that this friend or that friend, hey, have you heard he had a heart attack? And we're obviously gonna go like, yeah, probably there's something else happening, all that. Energy drinks are significant factor in a lot of cardiovascular issues that people are experiencing. And what I'm saying, people, I'm talking all the way to a teenagers. 14, 15-year-old guys have died from heart attacks. After a couple of years, parents totally supporting and not saying anything of the kid consuming 5, 6 Red Bulls a day. And you can say it's coincidence. It is not. Turtle, I used to drink 3 Monsters a day working shift. Well, there you go. So fear inoculum does have positive effect, at least on energy drinks, right? You stop drinking them. Congratulations, brother. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, Mr. Cooper, uh, Copenhagen. I would focus first dropping the Red Bull before you attack the Copenhagen habit. I will go that far to say that drop the work on dropping the Red Bull before you attack the Copenhagen problem. Seriously. Skywalker, again, when you say looking for alternative, I don't know, dude. I don't know. I'm sipping on coffee here, right? Megan went to town today, stopped at one of our good coffee shops, brought this clean, good coffee. I'll have coffee 2, 3 times a week, maybe. When I'm not lazy, it is somewhat of a plug, but not intended plug. Okay, I will drink good coffee, and that is organic coffee. Yes, that is coffee that we sell for the Honey Badger coffee. I don't know, man. I don't know. When you say I'm looking for alternative, that tells me that you need that extra boost. Instead of accepting it as a fact that you need that extra boost, do a little bit of self-reflection and kind of reverse engineering. Why is it that you need it? I'm not a doctor. I didn't stay at the Holiday Inn Express, and I don't pretend to be a specialist on it. But a whole lot of people that I have spoken to, a lot of things that I've listened to, read about, and the evidence is certainly there. Energy drinks are not fucking good for you. Don't do it. And if you do, it's your problem. Water, water, water. I will agree with that. Water, water, water. Yes, you can add certain things. There are all kinds of things, and one of these days I will plug it. Some very healthy, natural things that you can add to your water for electrolytes and things like that. Do not do it with a fucking Gatorade, please. There are ways to stay hydrated. Good hydration is something that, it's interesting how it works. It's been estimated that about 70% of the time when people say that they are hungry or they feel like they're hungry, they're actually not hungry. It's not hunger, it's not lack of nutrition or food, it's lack of hydration. So a lot of times when you feel hungry, drink water. Okay. And maybe that's one of the reasons why you feel sluggish and tired and all that stuff, because anytime that you feel like what you think is hunger, you go for some snack, and that snack most likely is full of sugar. And then maybe you wash it down with energy drink because you feel sluggish. Why you feel sluggish? Because of sugar. And then you wash it down with a fucking drink that has so much fucking sugar that it's enough to kill. But it has other things there that make you feel, for a short time at least, energetic, awake, not tired. Not good. Not good, guys. So, again, do it on your own time. Uh, do your own research. I can't say strongly enough how bad those things are for you. Get off the fucking energy drinks. And if you don't like me saying that, we'll agree to disagree. Very good. All right, moving on. Let me see here. Yeah, I hear you, Richard. Let's see here. Training topic of the week: learning, training, and practicing. It's not the same. Well, let me let me talk about something here really quickly. And I would like to hear from you guys if you ever spend time to make a distinction for yourself. What is, if you do what you call training, right? If you go to classes, seminars, uh, training events, and all that, what is what would be your breakdown, let's say, in your time dedicated to working on violence related skills, whether it's empty hand combatives, wrestling, boxing, fighting, knife, gun, doesn't matter. What would be your breakdown in time that you would say is dedicated to learning versus training versus practicing? Here's a suspicion that I have. A lot of people, they may have kind of like this foggy idea of what's the difference between learning and training. I can pretty much guarantee you very few people have an idea what's the difference between training and practicing. Whether I see and read some answers in your comments or whatnot, what would you say your uh, breakdown is between learning, training, and practicing? Okay, I want to give you some ideas, and yes, all of that will be written up. It is already written up, and actually, it's already edited because I believe it's in chapter 3. Uh, what does it mean to be learning? What does it mean to be training? What does it mean to be practicing? Right? These are important things to understand because the work that we do, if we don't know what the fuck we're doing, what are we doing? You know, and learning time differs from practice time or training time for that matter. Now, which one is more important? It's not the question. I do believe that they're equally important. Yet I will say this, without learning something, what do you have to practice? What do you have to train if you haven't learned something? Interesting question, right? Now, they certainly do overlap. A lot of training can happen while you're learning, and vice versa. While you're training, you could learn certain things from however your training is structured. Okay. And that's something that good students will look into and go like, okay, so how do I structure my training to kind of purify, so to speak, in my sessions? Is this a learning session, training session, or practicing session? Is it a macro picture or a micro picture? Am I working on something very specific or am I working on something more in the big picture, right? So, again, once the book is out, and it is very soon, you'll be able to read, and it is broken down in significant detail, and that theme continues throughout the book, and especially once you get to the chapter 9 of that book. Uh, yeah, that one will be a doozer. That one will be a doozer. Chapter 9 of Don't Be a Shitty Student is going to be very challenging, shall we say. All right. But I would suggest even before you get that book, if you haven't ordered it yet, you should. We will be shipping it very soon. We are in the later stages of finishing edits. And do yourself a favor. At least in your head, start organizing without waiting. That way you know what the hell you're doing, why the hell you're doing it, and what does it involve. And that's the difference between learning, training, and practicing. Write it down for yourself. What does it mean to you to practice versus train? Right? Because focus in training and focus in practicing can be significantly different. Not necessary, but it can be, and sometimes it should be. So again, organize your thoughts because that will save you time, that will make your effort more condensed, that will make your effort more directional, and you will reap the benefits from it. Cool, cool. Let's move on. And where are we moving on? Oh, yeah, current events. Well, as you see on the ticker at the bottom, for the current events today, surprise, surprise, Ukraine, ceasefire, NATO, and peace. Uh, I posted to social media the link to a YouTube clip posted by the White House, nevertheless, of J.D. Vance, the vice president, speaking to European leaders at a Munich security conference in Germany here a few days ago. And it's interesting how many European panties got in the freaking wad. They went fucking berserk. Okay. Because they certainly heard something they don't want to hear. And that is that for a long time now, they have betrayed the very principle they claim to protect and stand up for, so called democracy, or the principles of freedom, liberty, dignity. They betrayed it. And J.D. Vance had balls to say it pretty directly. If you haven't seen that speech, he basically said that Europe's biggest threats are not external. They are not from Russia. They are not from China or elsewhere. They are from within Europe itself. And again, they lost their shit. And then, of course, combination of what the defense, the Hexet said in our Secretary of Defense, and then Trump's call to Putin, and that was, oh my God, he betrayed Ukraine and all that stuff. Never mind how many tens of billions are missing, unaccounted for, and so forth. Never mind how in 2022, after the unjustified, Adam, I agree with you, man. It was short and sweet. It wasn't very expansive speech, but it was very well constructed, and I think it hit him so fucking hard. That's why the whole media and the left is absolutely losing it. European fucking establishment is absolutely losing it. They saying that U.S. betrayed Europe, that U.S. is leaving Europe high and dry, and I go yeah, you earned it. Yeah, Don, it was as my friend Bart Stewart would say, that was a fucking pure red, white, and blue American flag truth cock slapping those European freaking, bureaucrats and sellout political whores right across the face. Over and over again. Left, right, left, right, left, right, with the big American cock. Truth cock. It was pleasant to watch. I'm not gonna, people go wow, is he suddenly pro-American? I never was anti-American. I'm very pro-American when America is acting and heading in the direction that we are meant to be going in. And that speech by J.D. Vance was definitely something that I will absolutely fucking celebrate. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. It was much needed, much overdue. So anyway, and then of course Trump calls Putin. Okay, that's first. That's like first biggest offense. The leader of the free world calls this dictator Putin. First of all, Putin is not a dictator. Putin is democratically elected president of Russian Federation, the largest country by territory and nuclear arsenal in the world. Arguably, some people will say, no, it's not. Fifth or sixth largest economy in the world. Arguably, the country that has the most overall of natural resources of any country in the world. Arguably, the country that has ability and resources and land in a relatively near future to feed half the world. So, damn, what a shame. Trump calls the dictator, yeah, the president who's been elected with 75+% of vote, Vladimir Putin. And they spent close to 90 minutes on the phone. Glenn Young, how are you doing, sir? And again, the whores of Europe, Zelensky, they all fucking wailing and gnashing their teeth. This is betrayal. No, it's not betrayal. This is taking a step, very small step, to create a little bit more distance between us as human race surviving or fucking not. I mean, gnash your teeth, wail, cry, yell betrayal. You know, the man only did something that makes sense. Can we take a step back from the very, very scary line of demise of human civilization? It's funny how many lefties that over decades proclaimed themselves to be anti-war, pro-peace, they fucking wailing and crying like little bitches that this is betrayal, that we should send more money and more weapons to Ukraine to continue the killing. I have news for you. It's not just the killing of those worthless Russians. Most of the dying is happening on Ukrainian side. Yeah, it is a sombering moment that neither Texas nor Zakarchenko won't be around for this. I know, but whatever they are, they're probably watching this and going like, yeah. Those of you who don't know who Extreme Fight is talking about, Bentley is a gentleman from Texas, and he was actually in Ukraine or in Russia, was known as Tejas, Texas. Uh, he was an older gentleman from Texas that went to then Ukraine in 2014, and he fought in the initial conflict there in Donetsk from 2014. Then he married a Russian lady in Donetsk and lived there, and he was doing some correspondence and and journalism and stuff like that. And last year he was abducted and murdered. There's a lot of, again, I'm not going to get into this. This is a separate topic. And Zakharchenko is another. Thank you, sir. Yes, I will speak those uncomfortable truths, even if people don't like it, even if my friends disagree with me. I will say what I'll have to say. It is what it is. So anyway, they are crying. They are crying fucking big, big tears now. And now that Russian foreign minister and secretary of state have met in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, and they were discussing things. Again, the Europe, the Zelenskys, the whole leftist media here, the legacy media, they all crying. And I'm sure there's going to be Boltons and all these other assholes, war whores, coming out and going how this is not good, how America should show the strength and all that. That is showing strength. Pulling us back from the brink of war is strength. Defective Kalash. Let's talk about it. Eliminating political prisoners, such as you say Marcinkiewicz and Nemtsov. It's ignorant, in your opinion, right? To ignore that. Uh, Here's what I would suggest you do. Uh, do a little bit deeper digging about Mr. Nemtsov. Okay, Marcinkiewicz, not so much. I mean, that was whatever. But Nemtsov is a big name because everyone is about it. Do some little bit deeper digging about him. What was his prior connections? What crowds he was running with? What other things were done? What are his known associates? Western media doesn't talk much about it. But if you dig deep enough, you'll find out. As far as them being eliminated by Putin, you know, the cheap cop out would be this. We can talk about Malaysian Airlines flight MH370, and we can look at people, what kind of people were on that flight, which is very uncommon because 20 people from one company involved in the very highest level of semiconductor research. And it had something to do with most of them being Chinese or from Singapore. And that company is in direct. There was some problems with some American. I don't know. You see what I'm saying? So we can try to create all kinds of paths and go like tit for tat. Well, Russians eliminated this opposition figure. Look what America is doing. Look what UK is doing. Right? We can go. That's a cheap cop out. More importantly, a lot of these people that people will say were eliminated in Russia by Putin and his regime. Okay, you have to dig a little bit deeper into their backgrounds, connections, and affiliations and associations. And what you will find out is that these people, over decades, have created enemies left and fucking right. And I'm not talking left and right on political spectrum. I'm talking they worked and were affiliated, associated, directly involved with some very interesting characters within organized crime in Eastern Europe, Central Asia, and so forth. Some of the transactions that they've been involved, okay, have caused people to die. Not one, not two, sometimes on pretty significant scale. So before we start slinging shit that comes from BBC or any other legacy media in the West about Putin killing this, Putin sent his KGB spies and they were trying to poison Skripal in UK. Putin tried. Dig a little bit deeper. That's all I can say at this point. All right. Again, this is a separate topic that could be probably a 2-hour chat, and I can bring out a lot of interesting reading material and interesting facts that are not exposed, that Western audiences are not exposed to, but it's not within framework of what I'm doing here on Tuesdays. So anyway, meeting in Riyadh, right? They discussed taking first steps in normalizing U.S.-Russia relations and taking the first step in establishing certain normalized channels of communications. Again, Zelensky and European douchebags, they're all losing their shit about it because why we're not involved? Because we have no fucking business in bilateral relations between US and Russia. That's why, douchebags. How simple is that? They're trying to establish some kind of communication channel. So now, once they reestablish that and they have somewhat normalized their tone, so to speak, and got some understanding, this is where we stand, now they can start addressing the issue of what's going on in Ukraine, why it started, what's the NATO doing there, and on and on and on and on. Certain channels need to be established for that conversation to be productive and work. And once those channels are established, no one is going to do negotiations without Ukraine's participation. That would be stupid. That would be non productive. Neither Trump nor Vladdy Daddy are dumb fucking people. Okay? Zelensky or whoever is running that country at that point will be involved in negotiations. Now, will they be whoever these people are? Again, it could be Zelensky still. Right? Will they be told in uncertain terms that, look, take it or leave it, and if you leave it, it's going to be a sour juice for you to drink and for your people, for your country. So, yes, there will be strong arming. That's how things work in politics. That's how geopolitics are played. So it's not going to be a negotiation of all equal parties. They're not equal parties. There's Russia, there's USA. Militarily, they are the biggest superpowers in this world, fully capable to end human civilization. Okay? Ukraine is not it. Economically, US is still right there with China, the biggest economic power, the most influential country in the world. Russia, not to such degree, but nevertheless, again, you can say fifth or sixth largest economy in the world. Ukraine, not so much. So no, you're not gonna have the same gravitas to what you have to say, considering that in 2022 you had a chance to have a peace deal. But then certain wanker by the name of Boris Johnson told you, no, fight him. And you did, Mr. Zelensky, didn't you? And now hundreds of thousands of your Ukrainian folks are dead because of that, you douchewagon, because of you. Because you are lucky. So, how is this going to work out? We shall see. It's certainly going to be interesting. But I do believe, one way or the other, that the major stuff going on in Ukraine can come to an end in 2025. Would I expect this to be within the next few weeks? No. Is it possible? Again, realize there's a lot of hate going both ways across the front line, and it's 1,000-kilometer front line. It's not, 25-mile fucking flashpoint. And so it's going to be interesting to see, but I think, and I hope eventually this gets resolved. I'm not saying that the dying and killing will stop immediately. There's still going to be flashpoints. There's still going to be mishaps. I don't foresee NATO taking a lead as far as some kind of a peacekeeping in Ukraine. I don't believe Vladdy would like that very much. But we will see. We will see. Bigger minds with bigger paychecks and much more knowledge and understanding of geopolitics will be talking about that. So that's current events for this Tuesday, February the 18th. Let's move on, shall we? Product spotlight. And this is where you probably gonna go, what the fuck? And it says Porsche in your room. It sucks so well. And I'm talking about Sibo vacuums. Website is www.sibo.us. So let me tell you a quick story, right? A couple months ago, I had a vacuum that I bought, and I'm trying to think, what was it? Anyway. They had back then, when I bought it over 10 years ago, they had a great reputation. They were not cheap. They were like somewhere in the high 300s. And it served me so well for almost 12 years. So I'm like, why change, right? I'm going to get the same company. I'm going to go with the same company, right? I start looking up, I start reading. You touch those things in the stores because stores here in US, they carry them. And you go like, it doesn't feel the same. It's plasticky. It feels a lot cheaper. And then you start reading reviews and people go like, yeah, this shit fucking went out on me 8 months after I bought it, and it's a $400 vacuum. And it's not the same as the one that I bought 10 years ago, although it's similar model, upgraded model, but it's absolute piece of shit. It doesn't work. It breaks down. And then to fix it, you have to take it to authorized dealer, authorized repair shop, and all that stuff. And it's going to cost you just about as much as you would pay for a new vacuum. Or certain parts within those vacuums are not fixable. You have to replace the whole fucking thing. Right? So I'm like, okay, well, that sucks. What do I do? So you start reading, you start doing some research, and then you find companies like Miele, right? And they go like, this is the Mercedes of vacuums. And I go like, well, no shit. They start at fucking $800 for a basic upright vacuum. If you want to go like high quality, higher end with extra attachments and all that, 11, 12, $1,400 for a vacuum, right? So I start going deeper, and they go like, yeah, it's great vacuum and all that stuff, but again, to fix it, you cannot just take it to any shop because it's very specific. It requires very specific knowledge and parts, and you cannot get them. Only authorized repair shops have them, and on and on. And I'm like, well, this shit sucks. And then I run across this name, Sebo, Sebo. I start reading about it. It's a German company. Apparently, two gentlemen who started it in the 70s, they were engineers for Porsche, the company that makes pretty damn fast sports cars. And so they started this vacuum company, and I start reading about it, and I start kind of like, doing little research here and there. And again, things are not cheap. Their cheapest vacuums are $500 something. And they have uprights, they have the canisters, they have all kinds of things. So I looked at few different models, and we chose kind of like a mid-level, and we decided to go with the canister, not with the upright. And it has certain attachments and all that stuff. Man, talk about good investment. Here's the nice thing to know about Sebo vacuums. Okay, you can order directly from the manufacturer any part. It will come with instructions for you to replace the broken part, if it broke, with the new part right at home. You're not gonna have to pay fucking $70, $100 an hour for some mechanic, for some kind of a specialist to do that, and then all other fees and all that stuff. You buy it directly from manufacturer, those parts. There is no overhead. Everything is direct, and everything can be done at home. I don't do much vacuum. That's why I have a 15-year-old boy, Nick, my son. That dude loves this new vacuum. He cannot wait to vacuum because the options that you get, the power, and it's adjustable. You can lower it. If Arya eats something and she leaves some crumbs and she's on our bed or whatnot, you do it with most vacuums that don't have like adjustable suction power and all that stuff. It'll fucking suck in all your bed covers, bed sheets into it. No, this one has all the little adjustments and all that stuff, and it's amazing. It really is amazing. Very, very, very much worth investment. Again, you can get mid-level of their vacuums canisters from mid 600s to $900. I know it's kind of expensive, but I know we only had it for a few months now, but I have a suspicion that this thing will be with us for 10 years. The way it works, the way it functions, the quality of build, how it works, everything, how everything is thought out, the way it handles, man, it's a dream. It really is like driving a fucking Porsche in your living room or in your bedroom and keeping your place clean. So again, highly recommend. I'm certainly not paid by SIBO, by the vacuum company from Germany. Uh, I'm just a happy customer. We bought that thing, as I said, a few months ago, and we are thrilled with how well it's doing, what an amazing quality it is, and on and on. Again, go to www.sibo.us. That's their American website for those of you listening here in US. Otherwise, sibo.com. You'll find, again, it is a German company. And do your research, do your reading. Uh, they don't have many sales very often. They do have some distributors that you can catch on certain models, sometimes like $50 or $70 off. Not much, but it's still something, right? It's kind of like Porsche. You're probably not going to go to Porsche dealership and expect to have manufacturer rebates on, you know, I don't know, like a GTR 3 911 Porsche, right? Probably not going to happen. Kind of the same with the SIBO vacuums. All right, so that's my recommendation on that. Next product that I would like to talk about for Honey Badger coffee, we have all three flavors in stock: Texas maple pecan, spiced orange, and lit roast. Lit roast is moving so quickly. I'm low again, and I just got it like less than 2 weeks ago. So if you're someone who drinks lit roast, what lit roast is a organic coffee, and it is roasted with the Kentucky bourbon. It's amazing. All other flavors are amazing as well. As I said, we have three flavors: Texas maple pecan, spiced orange, and lit, which is Kentucky bourbon roast. They are all 12-ounce bags, whole bean. They are all organic coffee. Reach out to me if you're interested. And last but not least, before we move on, my sponsor, who is my wife, Megan, you already know that she has that 47 MAGA orange body spray for men, and she is about to come out with a body spray for the ladies. So I'm watching her working on it and all that, and it's pretty cool. It's very, very pleasant, very, how would I say, clean, organic, but it's also somewhat seductive. Yeah. Uh, so keep your eyes open. We will have it on our website, uh, coming from For the Honey Badger body sprays. You can also go to Instagram, and Megan has the page there for the Honey Badger body sprays. Follow and see when it comes out. It should be very, very soon. Again, she will have a different body spray for the ladies. Let me look at some questions here. Do you think 545.39 will ever make a comeback in United States, or is it done? I think it will come back. I think it will come back. Uh, Even if there is some kind of very partial normalization of economic ties between U.S. and Russia, and some sanctions still remain, believe me, it's going to be a question maybe of a couple years. Many other countries that are not sanctioned, like Kazakhstan, like they will start producing 545. It will be imported. It is not a done that caliber in United States by any means. So that's my opinion about it as far as 545 by 39. Thank you for the question, sir. If anybody has any other questions, reach out, send me messages. Oh, by the way, next week there will be no live feed, at least not on Tuesday. I'll let you know, maybe I'll reschedule for later in the week, because On Tuesday, I will be driving back from Ohio back to Texas. So it could be somewhat difficult for me to do this while on the road. I will let you know if something changes, but as of right now, the plan is that next Tuesday there will be no live stream. But it will resume as normal after that. Uh, at that point, we're going to be into March Madness. And let me put this down here. That's the March Madness. Uh, March 1st, second fight Hacker Escapology. March 5th through 9th, Fear Inoculum 2025. Followed by Bratva Gathering, March 12th, 14th. And that's by invite only. And immediately after Bratva Gathering, March 15th and 16th, is Shooter Fighter Matrix deep dive into fundamentals of shooter dimension. That class will be with myself, Andrew from Combat Arts Training, and Louis from LCAR Concepts. Uh, all of these classes, except the Fear Inoculum, still have spots. Jump on it. Join us here. It will be fun. Learning will occur. Training will occur. There will be possibly some humbling moments. They usually occur in classes happening here at Fort Honey Badger. So join us, and I'll see you guys, if not in person, for those of you who are in Ohio coming to a knife class, or those of you coming here for March Madness, or those of you who will make a decision to join some of our classes. If not, I'll see you right here on our live stream. Let us attend, number 8. And as I said, it's not probably going to be next Tuesday, but I will keep you informed. I will advise you through all my social media channels. Keep your eyes open, and I will see you when I'll see you. You all have a great rest of the week, great weekend, and may God bless. Sonny Puzikas here with Gospel of Violence Podcast. Peace.